welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is from Patreon subscriber Mark. And this is Grixis Unearth. Mark runs a Magic Club at the high school he works at. He wanted me to shout out the BCHS Magic Club. You all are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. And Mark has sent me this aggressive take on Grixis. This is kind of a throwback. We know we're off the beaten path here. Unearth is a card that used to be really cool in Legacy, been pretty much replaced by straight up Reanimate. And honestly, I'm not even entirely convinced that this deck wouldn't be better just with Reanimate in it over Unearth, even though it's mostly the same and you lose life and it doesn't have cycling. But being able to Thoughtseize an opponent's big thing and Reanimate that is worth doing. But we're not here to talk about what could be. We're talking about what is. And there were a bunch of mid-range decks a bunch of years ago that used Unearth with Snapcaster Mage as an engine. In the mid-game, you can draw Unearth a Snapcaster, snap the Unearth, and then bring something else with it for a bunch of value. Legacy has become extremely powerful and hostile, extremely fast, but Mark wanted to revisit this. This deck is very good at hitting its opponent in the face. It is not great at defending itself. It's basically a Rakdos aggro deck splashing for cantrips. Even the Force of Wills are in the sideboard. Bold choice in this current meta, but we're going to run with it. I did a little bit of tuning to help make that a better choice. Like the Dauthi Voidwalkers were me. Mark had more copies of Broadside in his list, but I think we need to check the box of surviving into turn 3 before we worry about all the cool things we can do on turn 3 and beyond. Dauthi Voidwalker, Orcish Bowmaster, these sort of hate bears that squeeze opponents on various things they might want to do while we beat up their hand and recur our creatures. Brazen Borrower, removing permanents so our lightning bolts and creatures can keep going face. The goal is very much to just kill your opponent before they really get rolling. Well-placed discard spell and apply damage to them. And that's pretty much it. Let's try it out. This is Grixis Unearth. I'm on the play in round 1, and I'm going to keep. I have a bunch of creatures I can play, and then a bunch of ways to see more cards. I'm going to go Volcanic Island Dragon's Rage Channeler. I think that's the way that I see the most cards and do the most damage. And a cool thing about a line like this is this looks like Delver, which is a deck that has a ton of free permission in it. If my opponent is on combo, and if they spend any time trying to play around Daze or finding a Thoughtseize to check me for Force of Will, those are turns they're going to get bashed in their head because all my deck does is attack. And that might be a turn spent that ends up winning or losing a game. We have the kind of phantom threat of what if my deck is not the deck that it is, but it is something else. A Wasteland. That's the worst news imaginable. Well, bad news, everyone. Cheese Wastelanding an opponent who already has a creature in play is a bold strategy. I wonder how this is going to go. Because if I find my next land that was actually very bad. Okay, Tideshaper. Unearth. Alright, well, I'm not going to trade my Dragon's Rage Channeler for Tideshaper. We're playing against Merfolk, which our deck is actually quite well suited to battle, if I could cast spells. Tideshaper's attacking. I expect there's probably a Hexcatcher involved here. Yeah, there it is. Come on, deck. Oh my god. Alright, well, at least I get to go to discard now, and I work my way toward Delirium. Count it. Tameo Inquisitive Student is not a card I'm going to cast this game. Getting cooked. Island Walk doesn't matter. You killed my island, you dope. You fool. You complete fool. Oh my god. We get to play a game. Kinda. If they have another Wasteland, I'm in trouble. I'm not even in great shape if they don't have another Wasteland. But I'm going to bolt this Hexcatcher, which will force them to sack Tideshaper, probably. Bloodstained Mire can stay on top. Tideshaper is their biggest creature, so this is actually interesting. Do they think they're going to need to Force Spike me more, or do they want to lose 4 power off the board? Or they could Force of Will from their hand. That's a good answer, too. 3, 7, 9. I'm not in good shape, team. Okay, I'm dead. Obviously, the Wasteland went a long way. If I just had a second land in my hand, that game is much easier. But that's okay. Took the risk when I kept the hand. Pyroblast comes in. I don't think anything else does. I'm not trying to force of will this deck. Brazen Borrower is a maybe. Things that impact the board are important. Dothy Voidwalker, not essential to this battle that we're going to have. And do I think Tameo is important? It's Tameo or one of the discard effects are what I'm looking at. Yeah, I think I'm going to get rid of Tameo. I want to hit this opponent, not draw cards, because they're all about hitting. Cool. Wasteland me now. Opponent kept 7. I've got Dragon's Rage Channeler on 1 again. But unlike last game, I will cast more than one spell this time. Island Pass. Okay. Brainstorm. Interesting. All right. I'm just going to attack for 1 and leave up the option of Bowmaster or Lightning Bolt. True Name Nemesis is a card that could have access to Harbinger of the Seas, also mildly concerning. Wasteland I'm not that worried about. Okay. They are wasting me. I'm going to float a blue, and I'll cast Brainstorm if they try to change phases. Pyroblast, we love it. Put that on top. Lots of cards. I'm going to put back Delta and Basic Island, because I don't actually want to shuffle these away or mill any of them away. I'll just attack with my stuff and hit my land drops. And I am interested in this Lightning Bolt or Bowmaster more than casting Ponder. I can Ponder anytime. This Basic Island is rock solid. Cavern of Souls cannot be countered. Can be targeted. All right, well, I'm gonna Pyroblast now, because Bolt can go face, but Pyroblast can't, and now that they have Cavern, that's pretty annoying, actually. I'll keep my Polluted Delta. If I need access to red, that's where it's going to come from. Like if they Force of Will here, which they didn't do, and my land does not become an island. Ever. Okay. I have Snap Pyroblast available. I'm going to Ponder, though. Finding Delirium here would be nice. I think I'm good on lands. Famous last words. A bunch of garbage. I will put the Brainstorm in the bank, and I can shuffle away the other bad stuff. I'm a little worried about True Name Nemesis if I don't get Delirium. Well, there it is. Yeah, the Cavern of Souls means that the Pyroblast couldn't have interacted with that anyway. Undercity Sewer for the Surveil, I think, is better than playing up Bowmaster here. Faithless Looting. That can get me Delirium, and I don't care about Orcish Bowmaster anymore. Okay, I'll put that on top. And I'm not going to end step Bolt now because I don't get Surveil value. Faithless Looting. Ponder to the graveyard. Discard Orcish Bowmaster, and I think it's Brainstorm. Snapcaster is going to be my way out of this game. The Bolt Snap Bolt races on. True Name doing its thing. Medallion Hexcatcher. That can resolve. And then I'm going to Snap Pyroblast the Hexcatcher once it's in play. Targeting Pyroblast. Blast the Hexcatcher. They can sack Hexcatcher to counter this, but I get what I want either way. Lightning Bolt on top, that's one of the best cards in my deck right now. If they flash in another Merfolk, they could sack that, but whatever. This clears the ground for Snapcaster to get in as well. Upkeep, something's happening. Blood Pits, Drowner, Dr. Owner. All right, my Channeler is frozen. Lightning Bolt, Drowner. Another Lightning Bolt, keep them coming. That's all I want to see from here. Okay, I'm still pushing damage, and then I can Snap Bolt again. Dragon's Rage Channeler will not attack next turn either. It's stunned. Opponent still wants to race. I'll take it. Aether Vial right on time. We love a turn 6 Aether Vial. We don't love a second True Name Nemesis. Bad news, everyone. I'm still going to Bolt the face. This is my plan to win the game. Bolt you down to 9. They could Force of Will, and they still be at 8. Okay, math time. If I attack with both Snapcasters, they go to 7. Yeah, Snapcaster's not doing anything else. I'll put 2 damage through. I'm a burn deck at this point. We're all in. Putting them to 7 means Force of Will actually changes the clock. Vials on 1. Nemesis getting in. I don't have anything like Plague Engineer in the deck. That just doesn't make sense in the metagame, though obviously it would be great right now. And it fits the Unearth theme. Phantasmal Image. All right. Another true name. Okay. End step, Bolt. I'm going to get at least one of these in here. If they have another Drowner, they win. If they have Force of Will, they don't win. Because of that Snapcaster attack last turn. Unearth. Unearth gets back Bowmaster. That's another damage. Now I can beat Force of Will or Drowner. Okay, opponent is at 4 life. I will go to my turn and move to combat. Channeler in there. Opponent's at 1. Lightning Bolt you. And I still have Unearth in the tank if I need it. Cool. Just a series of slugging back and forth in 3-point chunks. Awesome. If they're on this true name strat, Dothy Voidwalker is kind of a true name for me. Like, it's a way I can push back. Thoughtseize is a great way to interact with true name Nemesis, but it's pretty bad once we're in the race. I think I'm going to go -1 Thoughtseize. I still have 4 discard spells, and Inquisition does everything it needs to here. And this matchup's not really about Faithless Looting. Let me get some creatures that can attack unblockably in the mix. Okay, let's go. Slugfest, round 3. Oh no. Mulligan that. Keep this. I am going to bottom Underground Sea. I will not live in fear of Wasteland. Vile. Turn 1 is a lot better than turn 6. I do have 3 Brazen Borrowers in my deck that could interact with that. I'm not going to cast Ponder because I don't want to fetch a basic land, and I also don't want my first land wasted. All right, I'll get Undercity Sewer now. Sewer sees another Brainstorm. I'm good on those. Dragon's Rage Channeler. That one's okay. This is a reason now to cast Ponder, which I kind of wanted to do to lock up my next land drop anyway. Trigger. Keep it. And this is a bunch of stuff. Another Channeler's pretty cool. All right, I'll bank the land. There's a Channeler on top. Okay, no flash spells, no Vial on 1. 2's the scary number. It might not even leave 2 for the entire game. Eastland, played around it. Tideshaper. Okay, so they can turn one of my lands into an island and kill the other one. I have the ability to unlock this, though, with my fetch land. Maybe I'm supposed to Brainstorm in the upkeep to get Delirium. I knew Dragon's Rage Channeler was there. All right, I think I'm going to play Bloodstained Mire and just cast Brainstorm. That I'm still allowed to do. This is a Ponder. I'm going to get rid of that. Lands and removal spells for what I was looking for, and I found all of them. Is this Bowmaster part of my plan at all? I think I'm going to put back Snapcaster and Bowmaster, and then try to just get some dubs with my red spells. I am going to Bolt Tideshaper here. If I get Delirium, it's great. If I don't get Delirium, it's not great, but still worth clearing this thing. That's sick. All right. As much as I like Brazen Borrower, I like having Delirium more. This is how I actually win this race. Right, do they have a Flood Pit's Drowner? No, we're in. There is a Merfolk that bounces a tapped creature, but I don't know where they would have room for that in their list. Master of the Pearl Trident. My Grip Full of Bolts got a lot of work to do here. Master coming in. Hexcatcher, it's 3 damage. Okay. How worried am I about Force of Will? I'd rather have 2 Dragon's Rage Channelers in play when I cast my first bolt to get more selection. But I also really need to kill some of these things. Alright, I'm going to fetch the Badlands and play Channeler. And I'm going to go to combat before I do anything else. Channeler's in. And I guess I don't have to bolt now. If I was going to bolt, I would take out Master of the Pearl Trident. Alright, I'm going to respond to this Vial activation by bolting Master. They have to have a counterspell here. Okay. Get rid of Island. Get rid of Polluted Delta. I'm not in the lands business anymore. I'm in the deal 14 damage business. Okay, if this is true name, that's a 4-2 I can't touch. But I am representing 12 damage next turn. I guess it's 9 without another land. Wasteland's pretty good. That makes Snapcaster worse. It doesn't stop the hurricane that's coming, though. I'm going to float black. Make them think about it. Not taking out a red source is a choice. Phantasmal Image. All right. Game on. So if I take 4 this turn and 8 next turn, I I guess I have to bolt the Hexcatcher then, because this is exactly lethal, and my creatures have to fight. Plus, oh no, they're empty. I was about to say plus anything that comes out of the vial, but that's not possible. Okay, I'm losing the race if I bolt Hexcatcher. I'm losing the race if I don't bolt Hexcatcher, but if I Lightning Bolt and see a land... Alright, I'm bolting Hexcatcher. Thoughtseize, no way, no thanks. Land on top. That gives me Snap Bolt next turn. So 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, that's exactly lethal. Nothing left to do but slug it out and hope they don't rip a good one. Wasteland is good. Tide Shaper doesn't matter. A Lord does matter because then I'm at 1 and I can't fetch. Here's the attack. If it's a Lord, it has to be Hexcatcher. Drowner, Floodpit's Drowner is pretty good. I'm going to play my land and attack. Looks like we're going in. Opponent's at 2. I'm going to fetch. I'm at 2 also. Underground Sea. And I'm going to act in their upkeep. Or if they tap Aether Vial. Okay. Now's the time. Snap Bolt. Hope they don't have a counterspell. They can't Surgical Extraction either. Medallion Hexcatcher is good enough, but I think they would have flashed it in for the damage last turn. Daze is good enough, but we haven't seen one of those yet. Hope they don't have one. Hydroblast just wins it, but I think they would have blasted one of my channelers. Yeah! The Lightning Bolt 3-point slugfest back and forth where I was just a little better than them because my unblockable creature costs 1 and theirs costs 3. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play for round 2 with a hand that basically just beats down. I'm in. Basically this hand, except if it had Thoughtseize in it instead of Ponder, is what I want to be doing in this deck at large. I am going to play around Wasteland. That is a bit of a concern, especially with the speed of the sand. Oh, nice Dothy Voidwalker off my basic island. Good job, me. I'm actually going to shuffle this. I'm just not interested in these cards. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay. Maybe this deck just can't afford to fetch basic island, even if you're being careful. Like if I had just gotten Underground Sea like a normal person, I could have kept that Voidwalker, and it's one of the better turn 2 plays the deck has. Island Tamiyo. Okay. Alright, I can just bolt Tamiyo, or I can put Baleful Strix in front of it. I think I'm going to do that. Bowmaster is the other option. I don't really want to play a game that requires my opponent's cooperation. I'll get on board, I'll draw a card. Make it hard to flip Tamiyo. And Bowmaster plus Bolt can finish Tamiyo even if they do flip her right now. Opponent must have Brainstorm if they're doing this. Yep, okay, off we go. Marsh Flats after Basic Island is really interesting. What deck does this? Plus Tamiyo. I'm going to Bolt Tamiyo now. And then I'll pass and probably Bowmaster in response to a fetch land. If they fetch in the end step, I'll Bowmaster in response. Okay, cool. This is a spot where they can't cantrip over the top. I am exposed to Daze. Bummer. Alright. Still cost you a land, and I have Broadside Bombardiers next turn. Fetched Basic Swamp after all that. Okay. Cracking a Clue. Thoughtseize, cool. I was just going to say Force of Will is a concern, but let's have a look. Daze and Force of Will over there. Annoying. Okay, I can play around Daze at least. Double Fatal Push is rough. Kaito will eventually be a problem. I don't know how I ever beat Murktide Regent. Uh-oh. I guess if I just bolted Tamiyo on turn 1, this would be less scary. Okay, I'm going to take the Force of Will, and then I'm going to play Dragon's Rage Channeler and Brainstorm. Binning this second DRC. Right, Lightning Bolt I like. That is more pressure on Tamiyo. I don't have a Thundering Falls, only in Undercity Sewers. Probably just have to fetch a red source this turn. There's Underground Sea. They can just shove Murktide here. They could push my 2 creatures and take their time. This looks like it's just a mere tempo. That Marsh Flats was more confusing to me than it needed to be. Alright, just pushing everything. Get rid of it. Push it right down. Okay, end step, fetch. Wow! Good thing there's a land on top of my deck. Or else that would have been an annoying draw. Okay. If I attack Tamiyo for 1 here, I have nothing to throw. If they minus Tamiyo to get back Fatal Push, that is not going to kill Broadside unless they top deck a land. Attack Tamiyo. And I'm not going to fetch now. If they draw another Stifle, whatever. If they minus Tamiyo targeting Stifle, I'll fetch in response. Targeting Fatal Push. They are buying that back. Nice try. Nice try! Got him! That is not Doomblade, it turns out. We got the oops. Yeah, I did that the other day on the channel. I actually had the fetch land, I just forgot to use it. Even worse than what just happened there. Okay, I'm going to get Sewers now. I have a red source. I need some action. Oh, baby. Okay. Well, the deck's namesake showing up here. Draw for turn. Do I want Strix? That's a redraw. No, I pretty clearly just want Orcish Bowmaster. Bowmaster kills Tamiyo on entry. And now I'm in the attack for damage business, which is the business I've been in all along. But now it's very important. I think I should shock using the Orc Army, because I just have to do 14 more damage now before this Murktide takes over. A card that I'm otherwise not prepared for. Yeah, there's Murktide. Broadside does have Menace, and I do have a burn spell in my hand. Snapcaster on Unearth here would be insane. Brazen Borrower! Or we could just draw one of the 2 outs I played a Murktide. Okay, cool. I feel like I'm actually ahead now, after a pretty scary open to this game. It just took my opponent forgetting how Fatal Push works, which, I mean, it comes up. People make mistakes, and then games spiral out. Right, Murktide is back. It is a 4/4 Underground Sea. Right, I'm going to play Brazen Borrower as Lava Axe here. And I'm going to go face. I'm not going to hit the Murktide. I think. I mean, they have Kaito. No, I'm going face, yeah. I have this Lightning Bolt in my hand. They are dead to almost anything here. They don't know they're functionally at 1 right now, which means Force of Will, Fetch Land, Thoughtseize, all more perilous than they may think. Not again. Okay, they're going to daze their own spell. All right. Well, they figured it out. All right. Had me worried there for a second, opponent. Now if they hit with Murktide, they might actually lose on the backswing to Bowmaster. Are they going to respect Bolt here? They are. Okay. Ponder. Let's find a way out of this. Faithless Looting. That card is not very good in this particular spot. It would just draw and discard those 2 lands. That's basically the same as me shuffling. Unearth! The chicken dinner mobile. All right. I'm going to unearth my Broadside Bombardiers, as Garfield intended. And if they Force of Will this, they die to Lightning Bolt. We're in. This is 1 more damage than I need. If they stifle this activation, I still have the Bolt. They do have the Stifle. I have the Bolt. What else is going on over there? Okay, sweet. Wow. Dynamic, exciting Magic. It is nice that we've had 2 matches so far, both of which I would board out Force of Will in, so we're kind of pre-boarded. Voidwalker matters. I like the Thoughtseizes and Inquisitions, maybe not all 5, but in some number. Faithless Looting is just not very good. I'm going to be honest. It's in the deck because it goes well with Unearth. Like, you can set up some chains. But the front half of Faithless Looting or Careful Study, cards like it, it's like tapping Bazaar of Baghdad. You're down a card at the end of it because you have to use Faithless Looting that's a card to then draw 2, discard 2, which is generally not where you want to be unless you are just overwhelmed with resources or you're using the graveyard extremely hard. Neither of which are the case. Yeah, I think I'm going to shave a Thoughtseize here. I like all my removal, I like all my creatures, and by process of elimination, that just leaves discard spells. I like all my lands too. Ooh, alright. I don't think I can trust this. They're a Wasteland deck. Mulligan. This one at least has Ponder in it. I'll keep and put Barrogoyf to the bottom. That's a later thing. Tameo, she's in there. If I draw a land, I'll cast Dragon's Rage Channeler. If I don't draw a land, I'll cast Ponder to make sure I don't get cheesed out. Thoughtseize. That's almost good. Ponder. Okay, cool. We are not going to get mana screwed out of playing this game. Found 2 Bloodstained Mires on top. My opponent is probably a Bowmaster deck. Gotta respect that. And I'll respect it by casting Thoughtseize. Didn't get Stifled. That's lucky. And I'm going to Thoughtseize first, just in case they do respond with Bowmaster. I don't want my Dragon's Rage Channeler to just die, even though if everything goes my way here, I would get an extra Surveil. Daze, Brainstorm, Brazen Bar, or Fatal Push. Brainstorm's fun. I could take that, which makes Tameo a lot stinkier. Yeah, I'm going to take Brainstorm here. This is a bunch of stuff I have to work around, but I can work around it. And the Tameo cards are flowing. Underground Sea, that is not the land I saw. I am drawing Wild, something that kills Tameo would be great. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Right, I'm going to fetch for bad lands, round out my colors. Channeler, Channeler. Now, even if I play Brainstorm, even if it gets dazed, I get to Surveil too. Fatal Push. I am going to Brainstorm here. Brainstorm found another Brainstorm. I will leave that on top. I might need that. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is mediocre here. Alright, I'm going to put back Thoughtseize and Island. Oh yeah, Delirium. Now I can block Tameo. Unless they want to aggressively Brazen Bar this. Which they do. Okay. Seems like they haven't found anything better to do since last time I checked their hand. And that's another Underground Sea, still holding that blue to Delta. Tameo has added up to a lot here, though. I'm going to start with Strix. This ends the free buffet for Tameo. You've got a Bowmaster. That sucks, because I know they have Daze still. Alright, I'm going to have to let this happen. Right, so I draw Thoughtseize, and then Baleful Strix dies. And then I can play a 3/3 Channeler and Thoughtseize them. This will at least get Daze out of the hand. If they don't Daze it directly, it will take Daze. Lightning Bolt's great. Or, I would love, alright, well, it ends up taking a Daze regardless. So their hand is Daze blue to Delta right now. And I have the biggest creature. That could change quickly. I know they play Murktide. I know they play stuff like Kaito, block. This is a commitment to sacking your 2 clues and flipping Tameo, but not a bad way to spend a turn. Luckily for me, no, I'm still 1 short. Never mind. Or Lightning Bolt does it. Okay. Well, I'll attack Tameo. I'd attack you. That's 2 damage. Play my own. I think I should bolt Tameo first. Because if they found Force of Will, they might be worried about this enough that my Bowmaster gets through. Pyroblast on top I like. That's another answer to Tameo if this doesn't work. And Bowmaster, we're in there. Alright, take out your Bowmaster. Now my Brainstorm works, except that I know they have Daze in their hand. Starting to turn it around, and now I can answer a Murktide Regent because Pyroblast is on top. I could also answer Kaito, which means I don't have to be super stressed about blocking this Orc army if it attacks. Or just main phasing Kaito. That's also legal. Right, Ninja Emblem. I can Pyroblast that thing when it gets to my turn. This Tameo's pretty disappointing, though. I think I should Brainstorm first. See what I come up with. I know that Daze is still over there, though. Attacking Kaito doesn't matter. Alright, I'm going to Pyroblast Kaito. And then attack with Dragon's Rage Channeler, their face. Volcanic Island to the graveyard. Right, Channeler, get in. Saving my Brainstorm. Could play into a future Bowmaster from them, but I don't want to Brainstorm into... Even if I hit Lightning Bolt here, I know they have Daze. What's the game plan? Tameo can make clues, which does feed my Orc if they choose to eat them. Alright, yeah, they're just going right in. 1 to your face. The 4th Underground Sea is here. Big Barrogoyf. Oh, we hate that guy. Brazen Borrower loves to bounce a Barrogoyf, though. Alright, Petty Theft Barrogoyf. Got a tempo through. That's the only plan. I'm already holding a Brainstorm. I don't want another one. I want action. Okay, Barrogoyf back in their hand. I'm going to attack with DRC and my Orc army. I'll trade off at this point. Get this Ground Pounder out of the way. Opponent's at 12. and his Daze Barragoyf and some unknowns. Barragoyf's in. I have my own Barragoyfs, but they do have Daze. I don't have very many ways to kill a Barragoyf. Alright, they're playing out their own Brazen Borrower right now. Unearth. That can get back Baleful Strix, which does answer Barragoyf. It's ugly, but it works. Alright, Unearth Baleful Strix. That's the plan. We'll start there. I don't want Underground Sea. Strix trigger. Badlands. Badlands can play Brazen Borrower. My Channeler, they can chew up with their own Borrower. Yeah, I think this is the right play. And now I need to fade removal on Baleful Strix until the Barragoyf's under control. Combat is happening. Block, obviously. They do gain a pile of life here, but their Barragoyf dies. Okay, they are using a clue token. I'll go face. Alright, they're cracking all sorts of clues here. Face again. And that is clear. Now there's a Tamiyo in play. And I know they have Daze, which means I can't drop this Borrower. Snapcaster, there it is. Okay, I am going to attack Tamiyo for the 1 damage I can put on her. And Snap Unearth is now the plan. Snapcaster, target Unearth. We're doing it. This is the engine. Unearth. I think I want... do I want Strix or Channeler? I think I want Channeler. That just hits harder in the face of Tamiyo, which is what I need to do right now. Daze. Alright, so I wonder if they have 2 Dazes then. There goes the one I knew about. And there's the one I didn't know about. Okay, fair enough. I added another 2-power creature to the board and got 2 cards out of their hand. Snapcaster was still a 3-for-1, even though it doesn't kill Tamiyo the way I'd hoped. I mean, Snap Pyroblast could have also just cleared Tamiyo, but I think playing to the board makes sense. Undercity Sewer dumped a Brainstorm. That means they are not ready to answer my Bowmaster. Ponder. Alright, going in. This will be damage on Tamiyo. It's kind of cost of doing business here. Ponder did not shuffle. That's concerning. Dauthi Voidwalker. I like that card. I'm going to cast it, and I'm going to do it before combat. Because if they do something that interacts with my squad in combat, I want it in the void. Bowmaster in response. I will Brainstorm in response to that. I found the Lightning Bolt. That's what I'm looking for. Unearth could Snap Unearth. Is Snap going to be dead? Probably. Alright. Voidwalker Unearth back. Bowmaster resolves. Pings my Bowmaster. That's fine. Can't stop any of that. Voidwalker now back on the stack. And Bolt Bowmaster. Attack Tamiyo for 4. 3. They have 1 Daze left in their deck, potentially. Alright, Hydroblast was always going to work. That's fine. Okay, attack Tamiyo with my creatures. I am fine if Snapcaster gets traded with, because I'm about to draw Unearth. Just how we drew it up, literally. Okay. Did I misclick? Why doesn't Tamiyo have less loyalty? I don't know what just happened. Oh, they snuff out and blocked. Alright, snuff out just went straight to the void. I looked away for 1 second. Okay, they took 4 to deal with Snapcaster. They kept their Tamiyo. Got your own Baleful Strix. Tamiyo targeting Fatal Push. You got it. Pushing my Voidwalker. Goodbye. That could be back if I want it. I have another one on top of my deck too. Alright, they've dealt damage for the first time in a long time here. But I am going to Unearth Snapcaster Mage and start the chain. Unearth. They don't have 5 mana up, so if they have a force here, it has to be Pitchcast. And I'm just getting back Bowmaster. That's just so powerful in the matchup. It clears the Strix, lets me kill Tamiyo. I'm not really drawing cards. You can have a Bowmaster. You just can't have an extra Planeswalker. Okay, here we go. Back to a head. I know I'm drawing Dauthi Voidwalker next turn. No attacks. Love it, love it. Voidwalker pre-combat. Again, if there's a trick in combat, I want it in the void. Bowmaster in response. This will kill my Bowmaster, almost certainly. There it goes. And I will attack because all their permanents are more valuable than all my permanents at this point. And I have the best permanent in play, and Snapcaster is worth more than Bowmaster. Okay, we're back. There is a Snuff Out and a Hydroblast in the void, neither of which looks particularly useful right now, but that does count from last one. And they're done! Just slugging it out continues the run of terror onto the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw for round 3. Solid mana. First opening hand with a discard spell in it. I'll take it. Unfortunately, I'm on the draw, which might mean it's too late. Let's just keep playing against opponents with decks that I would board out Force of Will anyway. That's how I want to do this. Opponent's on 6. Once upon a time. This could be Oops All Spells or could be something much more fair. It's not Oops All Spells. Probably Cradle Control then. A Swamp. A Thoughtseize. Alright. Well, I might lose my Inquisition and not be able to test what they're actually doing here. But my hand is full of reasonable cards. Ooh, going for Snapcaster. They're signing up for a long game. This could be Turbo Depths, I suppose. Let's find out. What's going on over there? Zenith and another Thoughtseize and a Wasteland. I'm going to take Zenith. Go ahead, Thoughtseize me. Wait, where did my cards go? Did I delete them? My bad. So they have Wasteland, Verdant Catacombs, Thoughtseize in their hand. Okay, we know Wasteland in their hand plus 1 unknown. I suspect if this was Turbo Depths, they'd be more worried about Brazen Borrower than Snapcaster Mage, but I just redrew Snapcaster Mage. We'll see if they're still worried about that one. If I draw a Black Source, they might all be in play. Okay, taking the Unearth. Makes sense. And a Forest. Quarian Ranger. Alright. Some sort of elf strategy unfolding here. I know their card in hand is Wasteland, so I am not interested in Thoughtseizing them at this moment. If this was Elvish Reclaimer, I'd be more worried about it, but Quarian Ranger I can dance around for a minute. I could just trade Snapcaster for this, but Snap Bolt is so powerful. I'll play it out. I'm at 20. I can take 1. There's the Wasteland. Volcanic Island. Okay. Little awkward because Wasteland is face up, but also, what else is this going to do? Yeah, I'll just bolt the creature. Or I'll pass, and if they Wasteland, I'll bolt the creature. And if we get into their upkeep, I'll also bolt the creature. Alright, now's the time. I don't want to get randomly natural ordered here, or some shit that's just devastating when I could play around it. I also don't know if they have another land, and Forest picking up off Quarian Ranger could represent plus mana. Ooh, or Bug. What is this deck? I'm so interested. Oh, it's a Nadu strategy? Boring. Alright. Well, Nadu is in play. I don't think I want to Brazen Borrow that. Let's go. Park the bus. Well, they have some terrifying draws in their deck. We know that. Broadside's pretty scary too, though. It's a top deck war, where I have cards in my hand to start the war, and they don't. But they have buttons they can press that quickly change the entire game. Okay, no attack. I have unlocked my mana. I think it's time to get to work here. Broadside attack. I want bad lands because I have double black cards I might play. There's not a lot of double blue lines. Playing out the Brazen Borrower is really the only one. All right, here we go. Unfortunately, it's Broadside Bombardier doing the damage, not the creature. It'd be sick if I could fling this Baleful Strix with Death Touch. And at some point, getting the Strix in the red zone makes sense, but I don't think we're there yet. They probably have a Dryad Arbor in their deck, but I could throw Baleful Strix at it if they try to set up a double block. Or I could just kill Nadu. Okay, Hedge Maze, not Dryad Arbor. Dumped Bristly Bill. Okay, yeah, that's a later problem. You need lands for that to work. This one of Broadside Bombardier is going to be the MVP of this league. I can feel it. Unearth. Okay, what does this do? I can attack with Strix, Unearth Snapcaster, Unearth Strix again. All right, yeah, I'm going in. Attack with both. Fling Strix second main, then start the Unearth chain. Okay, Unearth, target Snapcaster. Snapcaster, target Unearth. Fling Baleful Strix for a bunch of damage. Unearth, targeting Baleful Strix. And now they're actually just dead next turn. I have not played a land. That was last turn. I am going to brainstorm here. And I am rewarded with another creature. I'm going to put back these 2 Thoughtseize, as I don't think that's what the game's about. And Dragon's Rage Channeler, you're in. Okay, even if opponent gets some Nadu flips, they're still under a lot of damage here. If they brick, they're just dead. Yeah, broadside racing the Nadu. Awesome. Okay, this feels like one where I need Force of Will. At least Pyroblast for sure. First appearance of a combo deck. Oppo Agent comes in versus Green Sun Zenith. Like that. Faithless Looting should not be in the deck, so I'm going to remove it. Dauthi Voidwalker, I don't think they're really doing graveyard stuff. Brazen Borrower could be okay. It's ugly removal, but it is removal. I love the Thoughtseize. Tamiyo's kind of mid. I'm just trying to do damage. I think if I were to rebuild this deck, Faithless Looting and Tamiyo just wouldn't be in it, and I'd be focused more on doing damage. Probably another broadside plus something else. Bowmaster, we saw some X1s that this could pick off, but we don't know if they're a deck that draws cards or if they're just a green elf deck that splashes blue for Nadu. Zenith for Uro might be something they have access to where the Voidwalker would be fine, but I'm not going to build a plan around that. They might even have their own Bowmasters. Right, I don't think this Brazen Borrower is coming in. Just running out of room. I could probably get away with cutting the basic swamp, but I don't want to mess around with lands. Maybe it's a Barrogoyf. Haven't had a Barrogoyf in play yet in this league. Just saying that. Putting that into the public record. Thoughtseize seems really good. Gotta survive those early turns. Okay, Unearth is dope, but I am going down 1 because we're doing a big sideboard change here. Alright, it's ugly, but I'll keep it. It needs some cards. But I am set up on lands, and I can answer a Nadu cleanly. Alright, drew more lands. We love that. I'm gonna fetch Undercity Sewer this turn. White of the Reliquary. There it is. This looks like a hybrid Cradle Control that just also has Nadu in it. That's how I'm choosing to read all this. Alright, another land. Get rid of that. I think that's all 18 of them that I play. Good news is we won't draw any more. There's Basic Island. Strix. Ponder. Alright, a real card. I have drawn half of the lands my deck has in it at this point. But the good news is, if I get through this early barrage, there won't be very many lands left to draw. Scythe Cat Cub. That's pretty good. They can play a lot of lands this turn. Yep. Yeah, fetch land plus fetch plus activate white. You have to sack a creature to do that, so probably aren't going to do that unless you fetch a Dryad Arbor. Okay, white is a 3/3. White goes to 4/4. Birds of Paradise. Luckily, this Baleful Strix is dominating the battlefield. No attack. Cool. Alright, deck. Dragon's Rage Channeler, not the worst thing imaginable. I'm going to play that, then cast Ponder. Another Ponder. I am interested in that, but I'm also interested in Velocity here. I like that Strix, but I think I like this Thoughtseize better. I want to know what's going on over there. And fetch. I could have kept Strix on top. It's fine. Underground Sea, Thoughtseize you. What are we cooking with? I'm cooking with Lightning Bolt. That is a card I like. Kind of low impact at this point when they have a 4/4 that is also threatening to be way bigger. Right, I'm going to graveyard Lightning Bolt. I think I need Brainstorm or something much higher impact than that. Snuff out Bowmaster, Ass Trophy. I'm going to take Bowmaster. That's the best card in their hand. But their hand is all removal, unfortunately. They can't snuff out Baleful Strix. They can trophy it. And I do have 1 basic land left in my deck to get with that. I also get Delirium because that is both a creature and artifact. Okay, I've been trophied. I'll get the Swamp. There's the Snuff Out, and an attack for a lot is incoming here. Especially if they drew a land for turn. Sylvan Safekeeper, okay. Well, that makes my game basically impossible to play. I don't have a Toxic Deluge in here. You gotta get ahead and stay there, or else you lose. This is at least 7 damage. If they want to sack their Birds of Paradise, they can make it more. They did not sack the bird. Brainstorm's the best card in my deck at this point. Okay. Well, I drew basically every land I play. To the sideboard we go. Did I over-index for Nadu? Obviously that card is scary, but holding Pyroblast that whole game and losing to White of the Reliquary that dies to most other things doesn't feel great. I think I want Brazen Bar or Barrogoyf in over those things. Let's get it. I'll keep just a handful of cards that have power and toughness, and secondary abilities. I hope this is a game that they lead on a mana dork that I can pick off for free. Opponent has mull to 4. That's a big mulligan. Hope I can take advantage of it. Verdant Catacombs. Please play Ignoble Hierarch. Zenith for Dried Arbor's fine. Give me something for free here. Let's go. Yeah, the mull to 4 into losing a mana dork to Birds of Paradise pipeline, or losing a mana dork to Orc. Sewer. Don't need this Bloodstained Mire. Cannot slam this Bowmaster fast enough. There it is. Your nightmare. My dream. And I still have stuff to follow it up. If they Bowmaster my Bowmaster, I can unearth and take it out. Wasteland, I don't care about. Scythecat Cub. That has some stats on it for now. I think I just want to get the Barrowgoyf in the mix at this point. Brazen Borrower, the best tool in my toolbox right now. Baleful Strix, no slouch either, if their plan is to attack with a creature. Oh, no plays at all. No land, no creature. This could be Bowmaster, it could be nothing. I think I'm just going to attack with Barrowgoyf. See what they want to do about it. Seems the answer is nothing. Alright, take 2. I'll mill. Lightning Bolt, Brainstorm. 2 cards I would have liked to draw, but they did make Barrowgoyf bigger. And guess what else? Another one. Alright, Barrowgoyf. I mentioned I hadn't seen this or drawn this thing in the entire league, and here it is. Beating the crap out of someone who mulled to 4. Basically 3 because I had the perfect lineup for their first play. I do play Brainstorm, so fetching here doesn't seem necessary. Hey, I love when you say a thing and it's immediately true. I'm going to lead on Strix. Just see what this comes up with. Comes up with Badlands. Alright, I'm going to attack with my 2 Barrowgoyfs. If they try to line up a double block, Brazen Borrower will send them straight to hell, and if they don't, I will connect for 1,000,000 and hopefully draw a bunch of cards. Yes, use the ability. Missed. Yes, use the ability. Alright, it's 2 Snapcaster Mages. My deck's all creatures. There had to be one in there somewhere. A fetch. Surgical Link Snapcaster Mage in response. That does not stop my play. I'm going to play Snapcaster target Lightning Bolt, and then let my fetch land resolve. You got it. Do I have a red sword yet? Yeah, there's another Badlands in here. Alright. Barely, but I do get away with it. I'm going to take out Scythecat Cub. That one is scarier to me. It is not legendary, it scales better, and otherwise it's the same as Bristly Bill. Snuff out Snapcaster going to 5, hell yeah. The only thing you could target with that. Alright, cool. A mull to 4 that lined up very poorly against my hand with Snuff out against my wall of black creatures, and Surgical versus my deck that cares a little bit but not that much about the graveyard. And we're somehow 3-0. On to the next one. The 9th installment of the NYSE Vintage Open Series is coming. This 15 proxy vintage tournament with Power 9 prizes takes place on Saturday, June 14th, 2025 in Long Island, New York, and has a $500 entry fee. That's a hefty entry, but the guaranteed prizes for top 8 are unlimited Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. The NYSE Open 8 went well for me last year. Someone better come stop me from getting another Lotus. Will it be you? I'll be at the NYSE Open 9 on June 14th, and I hope to see you there. Register on melee.gg or use the link in the video description. I'm on the draw in round 4. I'm going to keep my hand. It casts some spells. That's all I want. It's worked so far. Underground Sea and Thoughtseize. Have a look. The funny thing here is if they take any of the creatures, I can just unearth it. My hand is basically Thoughtseize proof. I can unearth any of the creatures they take, and I'm not going to cast Faithless Looting anyway. And if they take the unearth, I'll just play out the creatures. Checkmate. Concede now. Your sideboard is waiting. This hand with Looting and Barrowgoyf in it is the closest to a good Faithless Looting that I think we're going to get. Like if I go turn 1 Dragon's Rage Channeler, turn 2 Loot Away Baleful Strix Barrowgoyf, unearth the Barrowgoyf, then I have Sorcery Creature Instant, or Sorcery Creature Artifact in the graveyard if I draw a fetch land or surveil something away. They just took the unearth, so it's all whatever. But that was shaping up to be the best Faithless Looting hand we've had yet. And here I have to hope they are just regular old Dimir Tempo and not Reanimator or Doomsday or something. My hand's very bad against Bowmaster, though. Nethergoyf, hell yeah. I'm pretty good against that card. Ooh, the fetch land is tempting. I'm going to sit on it for a minute. If I fetch, then I have Delirium if they daze this Strix. Yeah, that's something I could have done. All right. I had this idea of holding it for Brainstorm or getting a Surveil value off of it at some point in the future, but applying damage would have been so much better here. I accept that that was probably an error. Planning too hard for the future, and now this thing's going to die to Bowmaster when it didn't have to. All right, all right. Okay, Barragoyf is bigger if I fetch. I don't think that extra point matters. All right, they're just on a double daze line. All right, taking the Unearth, looking smart. Though they have not done a ton here. They have some creatures on the board and stuff, but there's a land as one of their 3 cards in hand. An Unearth or another Barragoyf, a Snapcaster, all play extremely well here. Okay, they're fetching before damage to buff that Nethergoyf. Dumped Force of Will. Lightning Bolt. All right, well, I'll Orcish Bowmaster, and then that lets me Faithless Looting without obliterating myself. I get to keep 1 card here. Thoughtseize, why the hell not? What are you working with over there? Show me your secrets. Hopefully we get a Murktide or Kaito. Yeah, Kaito gone. Ooh, Grixis revealed. You had secret red mana this whole time, you sneaky snake. Okay, their hand is blank, but so is mine. I'm dead in 2 hits. 2 plus 1 point somewhere. Oh, you drew another Kaito? Get out of here! I'm enraged. All right, well, that was outrageous. Now I don't think I could possibly win. Barragoyf or Unearth for Barragoyf would have played before this moment, but now Kaito just locks it down. All right. The Slugfest. I was behind, and probably because I didn't fetch that land. Good to know. All right, Brazen Borrower, Pyroblast. Cutting these Faithless Lootings as we do. And I think it's 1 Thoughtseize that goes. Those get bad pretty quick. But otherwise, the deck is the deck. Yeah, that fetch land ended up being huge. I thought about it, but not enough. I didn't fully think about how important Baleful Strix was to that game plan and how they definitely would counter or kill it if they could, because it is bricking their whole offense. At first, I think I was thinking about it as just like, it's a cantrip that might matter someday, but it immediately mattered and changed everything. So yeah, definitely fetching first was right there. Okay, on the play this time with double Voidwalker, I'm in. I'm going to keep. I am going to cast this Ponder to get the ball rolling. If they wasteland it, I will try to prioritize having a black source. All right, well, that's not an option. I think I have to shuffle this, actually. While the island is tempting, the lack of black versus this hand is not acceptable. Okay, that's not a wasteland. It didn't matter. We got a Tamiyo in the mix. I think I'm going to get another Underground Sea here. That does cut me off of red, but it means they can't take me off a color with Wasteland because I did it to myself. And having Brainstorm in my hand means if I fetch Badlands and they waste Underground Sea, then I can't Brainstorm, which is what I'm trying to avoid. Brainstorm can help fix a Wasteland situation if we end up in one. And I need a 3rd land to cast Broadside anyway, so I haven't actually solved any problems there. Neither created nor solved any problems. That's my lot in life. Voidwalker beats. I'm just going to add another one. You think I'm going to hold up Bowmaster in this economy? Unblockable beats coming in. Right, a fetch land goes into the void. I can access that if I am desperate for land 3 at some point. Bowmaster in response to the surprise of nobody. And I'm in there with my beats. I've got a Bowmaster for their Bowmaster. Now double Voidwalker walls are up. You will not have a graveyard this game. Can't block. It's illegal. B-Storm. Flips Tamiyo. I can deal with Tamiyo with the Ford power I have in play. Brainstorm's in the void. Delta's in the void. Everything's in the void. We have the same mana base. Is this the mirror match? They have Kaito. I don't. Maybe this deck should have Kaito in it. Molten Collapse, pretty good. Now Tamiyo is not dead. A land a player on days would be great, but is not forthcoming. I could unearth my Voidwalker and keep the pressure going. There's a Molten Collapse in the void. I could sack Dothy Voidwalker, kill Bowmaster and Tameo. That's interesting. That gives me a lot of juice to play with. I could lead on Bowmaster, see if that works before I make any follow-up decisions. I can brainstorm this turn if I just go straight for Molten Collapse, though. That's a big deal. I think I'm actually going to Molten Collapse. I'm in. Getting to brainstorm here is exciting. Okay, destroy Tameo and Bowmaster. If they force of will this, then I can resolve my Bowmaster. All right, brainstorm, please find a land. But even if you don't, it's mostly okay. We got there. Boom, zooms. Push that one back. And do I want Tameo plus Voidwalker in play right now? Or do I want Orcish Bowmaster in play right now? All right, well, it's not these multiple 3-drops, that's for sure. I think I want Voidwalker plus Tameo. If something gets dazed here, I prefer it to be something that's not dealing damage. And it's to play that whole turnaround daze pretty well. They do have 3 cards in their graveyard now. But that was pretty dope, getting their own Descended Molten Collapse. Here I can and will block. Exposing Tameo to some 2 damage source like Golagon's Command versus getting Kaito'd, a card I know they play more than one of. Alright, yeah, I mean, they had multiple things here that could have been problems, so losing Tameo versus losing to Kaito. Whatever. Draw for turn. All my cards are instants, so I don't really need to cast them yet. I'm just going to attack. And wait for them to crack a clue in the end step. Okay, end step. Are they going to fall for it? Hell yeah, they are. Leaving up Lightning Bolt. I'll kill that, thank you. And I'll deal 1 to you, thank you again. Pew pew. And that Bowmaster is in the void if I want another one. I'm trying not to bolt their creatures if I can avoid it. I want these to go face. This is the whole plan of the deck. I played a Jeskai build not that long ago that was also built heavily around Bolt Snap Bolt as a game plan. That was pretty cool. It's fun that it's happened twice in recent memory. Okay, still gonna block, still worried about Kaito, still get blown out by Bowmaster. There we go. They have not used this Wasteland. That does take me off a color. Okay. Well, Bolch on the way out. Their Wasteland's in the void. And now I'm drawing Bombardiers, but I'm winning the race. Yeah, I'll just race. I could grab one of their lands out of the void if I feel like Bombardiers or Lightning Bolt becomes essential. But every turn Voidwalker's in play, I'm Lightning Bolting them, so what are we even talking about at that point? Another Wasteland. Oh yeah, emergency meeting. Just feeding the Bowmaster because they realize they're not winning. Good news. They are now dead on board. They are no longer dead on board. Wasteland, alright. I'll float a black. Let's make you wonder, make you think. If they attack, they're dead. Okay, didn't attack. Red source. The Brazen Bee. Can I get them to 1? That would be a big deal. Okay, they did not have the bolt. Now it's just a matter of time. They have to win this game without drawing another card, without attacking, and they have to kill Dothy Voidwalker, and then they have to deal 16 damage before I find any red source. Okay, Tameo gets in. This would be a very powerful Kaito, because that could lock down Voidwalker and they deploy a blocker. Nice, alright. Well done. I'm going to have to find a red source the old-fashioned way, it seems. Alright, Voidwalker is double stunned. And Tameo gets to come back down. Game on. Oi, oi, oi. Okay. Passing the turn. I can block Kaito with Orc Army. Oh, this Murktide attack's really interesting. Oh, attacking with Murktide but not Kaito. They must have a removal spell because they're currently dead on board. Kaito won't be available as a blocker. All right, there it is. A 0-1, kind of a blocker, but also not really. Red source. Opponent said playing my worst here. I mean, I noticed. Not to be mean. All right, so we've got 4, 9. Yeah, I actually can't attack here. I have the 3-of-a-kind Barrowgoyfs, all of the most expensive cards in my deck currently represented. They have to answer Dothy Voidwalker or kill me this turn. Alright, they could also restun Voidwalker and get me dead with Murktide. Alright, I got a block. And this is the last turn I can draw fetch land. I would have to raw dog a red source the turn after that. Oh my goodness. Sweet relief, I hope. They could hardcast Force of Will and still cook me. I'm gonna bolt. This is all I got. We're in. don't think Force of Will should be in the deck right now, but if it is and they have it, I have lost this game. Blue Blast. All right, yeah, that works. All right, yeah, took exactly Kaito Tamio, but they did manage to navigate that tricky situation. Yeah, I think Kaito should definitely be in this deck. If we're just trying to deal a bunch of damage with creatures that are in these colors, Kaito is a big miss. On to the next round. Someone finally beat me. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in the final round. Positive record locked. Bread and butter 4-1 on the line. Tough start, no lands. Here we go. I'm going to keep this and get rid of Faithless Looting. I think that card is worse than a land in basically all situations. Okay, Ponder. The Voidwalker Ring. Yeah, all right. I'll take a Voidwalker and hope this is a graveyard deck that will give me a turn. Gotta thread the needle here. Cavern of Souls on Wizard, so probably Nadu Breakfast. Okay, I am fetching Badlands here. Well, they can't daze me. I have that. That's comfortable. This could also be a Plagon strategy. The Starfish King. They didn't have Stoneforge Mystic. That's good. Nadu might still be coming, though. Voidwalker in. Another one. Just piling up damage. Snap Ponder is not what I want in this environment. Cracking a Clue in response. Resolves. Tamio's still going to work. B-Storm. They want a Planeswalker. I can Brazen Borrow that. That's not a big deal. I can also attack it for 4. And they missed their land drop and forgot to activate Tamio. Wow. We might see a Tilt Scoop in a moment. Forgetting to activate Tamio is big. I'll take on Orcish Bowmaster. Discarded Snow-Covered Plains after missing a land drop and forgetting to play Tamio. What just happened? Like, actually, what just happened? Okay, attack you, attack Tamio. Now there's a Tamio in the void. I could Petty Theft their Clue token, but I think that's a little too aggressive, especially with this Bowmaster coming down. Oh my god. Pew pew! I haven't Bowmastered a Brainstorm in quite some time. Force pitching Illusionist. Okay, so they are, in fact, Cephalid Breakfast, and these Dothy Voidwalkers are probably doing the Lord's work. My opponent is frantically digging for Nadu action right now. And now there's a Force of Will in the Void, but that doesn't matter because there's a Cavern on Wizard in play. Nadu mana discovered. It doesn't change the clock for me to play out Snapcaster as a beater. Ooh, alright. What do I do with that information? I could bounce Shuko with Petty Theft. Yeah, I think I have to bounce this Shuko. Snapcaster. Snap Ponder could find Thoughtseize here. Okay, I'll do that. Snapcaster, target Ponder. Ponder. Found Thoughtseize, just how we drew it up. I do not shuffle. Do take a peek. I'll remove the Shuko here, or they're just scooping to that. Okay, so luckily they were actually a graveyard deck that Dothy Voidwalker shut down in its entirety. Force of Will, Pyroblast looking pretty important here. Baleful Strix, probably not that good. Bombardier Barrelgoyf, that's how I win. Faithless Looting always gets boarded out. The Surgicals and Consigns are other things I could play, conceivably. Because I'm not always going to have Dothy Voidwalker in an opening hand. I have these Force of Wills coming in, though, that are pretty nice. Got a bunch of discard spells. I like the damage Channeler's doing. Lightning Bolt is interactive. Bowmaster's interactive. And maybe a Barrelgoyf actually gets sliced here. A Barrelgoyf and an Unearth. I don't think I have room for these Surgicals, and that's only part of their plan anyway. Alright, I'm going for it. Surgical doesn't really help versus Nadu, is the problem. Okay, the first ever Force of Will in my hand in the history of my life. Forest. Okay. Yeah, the cool thing about looking like a Forest and Daze deck is I also look like a Wasteland deck, but I am none of the above. I'm going to get Underground Sea and cast Ponder. This gives me the most hits at turn 2 Voidwalker, which is being delivered immediately. Okay, I will take these cards. A second land. Still playing on basics. Nomad's Encore. I don't really want this card in play. I'm going to force pitching Tamiyo. Veil of Summer. Got my ass. Alright, so I lose really hard to Nadu next turn, but I'm ready versus Breakfast. I am actually going to fetch Badlands now, because Dragon's Rage Channeler is no longer a card I'm interested in. Okay, here's this. Ready to get cooked by Nadu. Yeah, the Cavern, this is why I didn't try to hold the Force for Nadu. Sandbagging that Cavern is just so easy. So easy that it's not even clever. So telegraphed, so obvious. Alright, go nuts. I don't think this game's winnable anymore, but we'll see. If they put something foolish in the Void, that could work. Spell Pierce, Hydroblast, Tamiyo, and some damage comes through. If I draw Lightning Bolt, nope, no chance. Alright, I guess I'm gonna snap Ponder. Oh, not with that mana, I'm not. Shit. Alright, can't catch a break anywhere. Not that I deserve a break. Yeah, I think after they spam their Nadu activations, I'll probably Petty Theft Nadu. Now they have a land, so they can Spell Pierce it. Wow, they didn't even draw all their cards that they could have. Not interested. Just beating down. Fair enough. I'm not going to jump in Snapcaster Mage because they can just redirect the damage to Nadu, and I haven't actually done anything. Alright, Snapcaster on the stack. Target Ponder. Can't cast it. I don't have double blue, and there's nothing that could be done about it. So they're going to clean up and putting things into the Void. Brazen Borrower now, number 2. Attack with my creatures. And pass. Nomad activation, hit Prismatic Ending, that's really good. Tamiyo, not so good. Flooded Strand, fine. Misty Rainforest, whatever. I think I probably just have to drop these Borrowers as 3 power creatures and try to overwhelm. Bouncing Nadu just doesn't do anything, they have so much mana. Here's the ending on Voidwalker, that's gone. Bunch of hits here available. I take 4. My ability to attack back is severely hampered at this point. Narcomoeba. Alright, I'm not winning this game. I'm good. I'm not even going to play out the Brazen Borrower. Okay, the card Nadu is, of course, bad news. Thoughtseize, Pyroblast, Force of Will are all in my deck. They had a protected turn 3 send, double protected. They had Veil on the important card and then Cavern on the payoff. I think Oppo Agent's too slow for what we're doing here. Tamiyo might suck. Tamiyo is one of my precious blue cards. We are below the responsible number for blue count, but I'm still gonna send it as is. I'm not gonna go any lower, nor am I gonna try to fix it. Alright, I will keep this hand. This hand does encourage me to fetch Badlands to start the game, which is not what I want to do, but it is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go Badlands Dragon's Rage Channeler, because I think being on board is worth it, rather than Thoughtseizing their first hand, even though this does open up Veil. Fetch. Prismatic Ending. Okay. Land would be a big deal here. Alright, Magic is hard. Another one. Pass the turn. All their game-winning plays cost 3 mana if it's Nomad plus Illusionist or Nadu. Okay, they've spent 2 cards answering my stuff. Alright, deck for real. Big draws. Land. Yeah. Yeah! Thoughtseize. I'll take Brainstorm. Wow, this Urza Saga is not going to be a beatable card. Yikes. Alright, I'm going to take Brainstorm, and I'm going to Lightning Bolt Tamiyo. Alright, hope they don't draw Nadu. There's Shuko. I don't have blue mana yet. I still don't have blue mana. This might be a cycle Unearth situation. I think it is. Alright, cool. This does tap me out of Pyroblast for a turn. If they draw Nadu right now, whatever, good job, you win. A Forest. Ponder, I'm going to hold on to that because I have to Petty Theft a Construct this turn. Alright, they tapped out of green to do this, so I'm going to fire the Brazen Borrower now. They don't have Veil right now, or they would have thought about it and tapped differently. And now I can counter Nadu. Didn't bring in my meltdowns. Oh no! This is the dangerous side of the deck. Lightning Bolt works for one more turn cycle. Snapcaster's a good draw. Bolt is. Pyroblast, not what I want here. Brainstorm. Oh, I want Brainstorm, but I don't want the lands that are under it. And I need an answer now. I have to shuffle. Found Brainstorm anyway off the shuffle. But it's going to be too late. Once these are X4, there's basically nothing I can do. I have to like put Barrowgoyf in front of them. They should activate now. Yeah, okay. They did it correctly. If they waited, I would have had a window to Lightning Bolt. Edge Maze. All right, I need Barrowgoyf. Brainstorm. 2 Thoughtseizes. No! This is how it ends, with a whimper. I am just dead on the board. They might not have an artifact to tutor, but that's 7, 12. Yeah, that's still lethal damage. All right. Got me with the Nadu game 2, and then got me with the Saga beats game 3. Okay, a positive record, though, with this deck that is doing very little that a Legacy deck generally tries to do. We're mostly just putting creatures into play with some light disruption and trying to deal 20. There's no... I guess Barrowgoyf is kind of a card advantage engine. Like, so many cards are just engines these days. They go plus cards longer they're in play. Channeler has a little bit of selection attached, but it's not going plus cards. If you get to the late game where you're snap unearthing, that's kind of an engine. But the self-contained fire design, spend 2 or 3 mana, get something that must be killed. There's not a lot of going on in here, and we still acquitted ourselves honorably in this league. The Faithless Lootings just aren't good enough. If we had bigger stuff to reanimate, if we had more Tamios, which Mark's original build did have more Tamios and more Faithless Lootings, I trimmed on both, because Tamio doesn't deal damage, and Faithless Looting doesn't really draw cards. Not in a way that we care about. Like, I think this would genuinely be better as Preordain, but I think it would be much better if no Tamio, no Faithless Looting, another Broadside that was the MVP when we found it, and then probably like a Kaito and another Bowmaster, maybe, or a Kaito and a Fatal Push. I would want more interaction in the deck and focus more on creatures that can massively impact the game. It's possible even Dragon's Rage Channeler doesn't belong here as a 4 of. Like, if we just go in on Voidwalkers, Broadsides, Bowmasters, and just put a wall of stuff up, like, you can't attack because I have Strix, you can't use your graveyard because I have Voidwalker, and then eventually Broadside kills you or Snapcaster buries you in cards. That could be a way to go, like, just go a little bit bigger. I would also explore Reanimate instead of Unearth. You lose a little bit of life, that's going to matter sometimes, but we're also a Thoughtseize deck. Thoughtseizing someone's Atraxa and taking it is something that can happen in this format. Or taking their Barrowgoyf, their Baleful Strix. Reaching into your opponent's graveyard would have mattered in this league, as we traded off Bowmasters with multiple Dimir Tempo opponents. Worth considering. And if the counter argument is, but I like my old cards, this is an old favorite, Reanimate's even older than Unearth. No excuses. I'm going to leave this here. Mark, thanks for sharing it with me and everyone else. The BCHS Magic Club, shout out to you all again. Everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.